Good morning online. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's post build and we're kicking off the meeting. So let me turn this around. All right, everybody, go ahead, grab a seat. Mike, go grab a seat. Can't tell Mr. Gove what to do, but I can tell Joey what to do. Go ahead, Joey, grab a seat. All right, guys. So let's kick it off as we do every week with either a tell me something good or a big takeaway that you got from build. We're going to go to Paul first.
All right, well, a win is that I had a contentious repair request that the other side was saying my side had to pay all of it. We took it down to they told me they're going to reject cancel transaction. I took a break, got off the phone, changed my state, Tony Robbins. Took a moment, pulled up some new information for him on some different comps, sent it back to him. Got a victory, $500 for my clients.
Boom.
And transactions getting closed.
Awesome. Round of applause. There you go. Miss Lexi, what'd you get from build?
Oh, well, one of the things that Tony Robbins talked about was, it was so interesting actually, because when you guys go to listing appointments and buyer appointments and stuff, you think that you have to sell yourself to your client, but the reality is Tony made very clear, is that the potential buyer or seller is not actually buying a house. They're buying you. They're buying your state and your energy. And so he actually had everybody walk through a whole breathing exercise where you learn how to change the type of energy that you're bringing when you go and meet these people. And it was awesome.
Awesome. Broker Barry, what do you got?
All right, man, I'm going to jump into it for just a minute, if you don't mind. This guy, Don Weiner. Weiner.
How do you spell it?
I don't know how to say it. W-E-N-N-E-R. Winner. Okay, great. Okay, so despite making fun of his name, this dude is bad to the bone. Was perhaps the most successful person in that room, and other than maybe Tony Robbins and Brent and Rob Blick, but I don't think Rob Blick was there. So and Gene Frederick. So anyway, very strong guy, has built multiple companies out of his real estate business. I'm going to jump into just a couple of things that he said. Top number one, and he was top 15 in the USA, number one in EXP. He's the number one agent in production in EXP. He's only doing 28,000 sides. Yeah, 28,000 sides. It's okay. So far, he's done in 2,600 last year. 28,000 human beings. All right, so legacy is about the why. He goes into a whole bunch of stuff on that. He says, you live for your eulogy. Are you living for your eulogy? Right, and so that kind of puts everything into a way different concept. He said that he has 100-year goals, not 5-year goals. He has 100-year goals. Wow. That just changes the tone of the whole conversation. He says, I want to be remembered the most by those in my own home. Right, so his family, what the difference he made in that family, that kind of thing. Yeah, he's got a whole bunch of stuff. Big into investing in housing, big into selling in housing, and then by investing in housing, it branched off into a bunch of other businesses. To whom much is given, much will be required. Intentionality. Here's one. Being busy is akin to being sloppy with your time, and it's a form of laziness because you didn't prepare out correctly. So I thought that was pretty awesome. What is important is rarely urgent, and what is urgent is rarely important in the long term. So anyway, that was just a little bit from him. Thing I noticed on this one is faith was first and forefront in this meeting. If you're a person of faith, this would have felt like at some point it got down to be just about a revival meeting. From the pulpit, I said pulpit because that's what Brent taught from, was the pulpit. And they actually just broke out. One guy was talking about medical stuff. The guy announced that he had cancer, and boom, 4,000 people stopped and prayed for it. That was pretty intense. So right there from the stage. So anyway, good event. And make sure you go to these events. They're just great. Coming up is I just booked my ticket to Vegas. I doubt if it's going to have a prayer meeting in Vegas, but they probably could use one. So if you're a company and you want to pray, then you can start with maybe the first ever prayer meeting in Vegas.
Yeah, Don. So the Don Weiner book, it's Building an Elite Organization.
Winner.
Yeah, if you go on Brent's site, go on, under media, under brentgove.com, all the talks are on there.
Okay.
Just go down to him and Rick talk.
Here, what,
Phenomenal. He's only 37 years old.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was gonna say, I'm like, he looks so young.
yeah.
He charged me out, just read this.
so let's actually do that right now. Where do we go to see it?
Go to brentgove.com
Yep,
and then go to under
media.
and, Ray just loaded all the, just click on the YouTube. And scroll down to Dawn.
Oh, everybody's there already.
Yeah.
There he is at the top on the far right.
Sorry, I can't see because your beautiful heads are in the way.
Connect to everybody, but if you're trying to build.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a connection.
Yeah.
Well, we got Pipes, Uncle Pipes. We got Levi Lassick.
Yeah, there was so much talent.
Can't believe it.
Glenn Stearns.
You know, on that stage, it was insane.
So that's open to the public, anybody can see that.
Yeah, this is on YouTube. This is on YouTube.
It was spot on.
Who's that guy? Who's that stud right there?
So, I love
This-
it. He lost track of where he was at with the time. He was just ripping. He was like at one of his best.
Did you jump on anything?
All right.
Did not. Close to though.
And this person kind of looks like Jen. Look, there's Jen. All right. All right. I'm like, everybody's like, hey, this person's good. This person's good. That's how you know it's a good conference when you're going through the highlight reel and you're like, you got to watch that one, that one, that one.
Guys, you really should go to that site and watch one of these a day. I would not watch more than one, because one is almost too much, but, you definitely should watch these. They're good stuff.
All right. Well, hey,
I got something I want to say.
yeah, go ahead.
So, one of the opportunities at the Build Conference, and you didn't make it, consider going next year, especially if you're interested in building an organization. Because the thing about EXP production versus EXP building an organization, it's two different business models. So if you've been a real estate agent for 20 years, you've been taught real estate for how to do an open house and how to do this and hiring an ISA and all the conversations. So for 20 years, you've been filling your mind with that. And now you have access to EXP, and it's a whole, the agent attraction, it's a whole different way of thinking. So what I'm seeing a lot of is agents in EXP that want to build an organization, and then they just keep staying in production. So why would they stay in production?
Need some money.
Need the money, and it's what's familiar. So it's like, if you drink coffee in the morning, how did you drink your coffee this morning? The same way you drank it yesterday. We do life in patterns. We listen to the same type of music. We watch the same type of movies on Netflix. We go to the same websites. Their whole life is a pattern. So you could be the star real estate agent and you could crush it in agent attraction. So then the question is, how do you change the mindset? So I have two suggestions for you. Those videos that were shown up there, what you can do, if you watch one that you really connect with, watch it over and over and over again, like 100 times, like a 15-minute video. Think about this. If you watch a 15-minute video 100 times, you're going to put it into your subconscious mind. That's what we have to do, is we got to change your thinking on agent attraction, because we've been being a real estate agent for 20 years. And if you are really serious about agent attraction, you really need to be at Build next year. If agent attraction is all that important, then I'm not going to say you must, but you really need to be there, because talk about, if there's anything that's going to shift how you think, it's being at that event, hearing agent attraction story after story after story of people that made a major change. So those are my 2 cents.
Awesome. Good stuff.
Hey, I wanted to say something.
Mr. Gove, you can say everything.
And that's the best meeting I've ever been to, that whole series. That was the best I've ever been to. It was amazing.
What was it that made it so different than all the rest for you?
I think it's the spirit of the people.
Yeah.
Everybody there was like, it was like, people were hugging, people were talking to pray for somebody, it was really cool.
That's awesome. Cool.
John, can I jump on that?
Yeah. Last one, and then we got to get rolling.
So to go on to what Eric was saying, so when it comes to going to these events, it also doesn't care, I don't care if it's EXPCon or shareholders as well, right? You can look at these, especially when it comes to age of attraction, these are great opportunities to bring people, right? Like we have Clark in the room. Clark, how many people did you have go to Bill? 26. 26.
Great job.
Okay.
Yeah, give him a round of applause.
I've got short of my goal.
And we ended up having 33 frontline for us that went to Bill. Okay, and like even Clark's talking about bringing what 8 to 10 people to EXPCon. Okay,
The goal is much higher.
we'll get to those too.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing is that when you get people, like big events cause big decisions. Okay, and when you are bringing people over, that is what will help you significantly to influence people into how great this opportunity really is.
100%, 100%. All right, back to the menu of the day. Miss Alicia, what's happening in the terrible world of lending? I'm just teasing you. I'm just teasing you. I'm just teasing. I'm just poking the bear.
You know, a lot of people are going to be talking about the market right now with fear and negativity, right? Rates just went up again a little bit. But the bottom line is if you counteract that, if anybody brings it up and you go, oh my God, you don't understand, it's okay because my lender needs down to 4.5. We found a way to get super creative, get the seller to give you 3 points credit, 2 to 3 points credit. And now we can get your rate back into the fours, no problem. We just have to find the right seller. Because then if you're painting the picture to the client like, no, we can still get these great deals. We're just looking for the right seller. There's plenty of sellers that are vulnerable, plenty of sellers that give credits. If we use those credits to do a permanent rate buy down, guys, I will lock in all my clients in the four. But I'm educating them as they're going to shop. Hey, we're going to ask for seller credits to buy the rate down. Or if they were putting 10% down, I'm switching them to 5% down and using the rest to buy the rate down. So you can combat that. And I keep telling them, isn't that great news? Yes, rates went up. Guess what? Even less competition. That's an opportunity. Then they're going to realize that it benefits them. They're going to find the benefit in that because you can still get the rate down. One of the things I was going to bring up, I thought was super important because a lot of people don't understand it, is return on investment. So does everybody understand that when our buyer goes to buy a home, let's just say on a $400,000 home, they're going to put 5% down, which is basically 20 grand. Okay. If they're going to put 20 grand down as a down payment, and that home appreciates just 5%, we're going to say over a 2-year period of time, we're going to be really conservative. We're going to say it went up 2.5% 1 year, 2.5% the next year. So in just 2 years, guys, their return on investment is 100%. They made 100% of their money back in just a 2-year period of time. That's 50% return on your money per year. Nobody's 401k is doing that, right? So it's important to start to educate buyers about return on investment. Hey, let's just put the rates aside for just a second. You have 20 grand to spend. Let's talk about how quickly that house is going to make you your money back. Does that make sense? A lot of times, guys, it's 1 year. 1 year, 100% return on investment. If client starts to realize the benefit of this investment, they really get off as obsessed with the rate. Does that make sense? They start to focus on how much money did they just make. Oh my God, I'm gonna make 100% of my money back in just 1 year. It's amazing. That number is not gonna change for them. So it's a great time to buy. Why? Because you're gonna get 100% of your money back in the first couple of years. Does that make sense?
So I'm hearing about a permanent buy down, and I'm also hearing, was it two for one or 2-in-1 buy down?
So 2-in-1 buy downs, I don't like them. Everybody's trying to sell the shit out of them. I'm sorry. Why not buy the rate down permanently? Why am I going to tease the client and then they really are going to have more bills when they move in, and it really sets them up to be scared in a couple of years? I'm not a fan. Why, when I can talk to seller and give me 1 more point, and now I have a 10-year fixed, you know, that might be in our record, but I don't like the teaser 2 buy downs aren't my favorite because I don't feel like it's the best setup for the customer. Not if I can get to the 4s by getting a permanent buy down. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Why? I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me to do this.
How does it relate compared to the adjustable mortgages?
So the main adjustables I'm writing are all 10-year arms. Like 99% of my loans are 10-year arms. Market cycle, historically, guys, in a 10-year cycle, okay? So if we lock somebody in for an entire decade, there's a pretty great opportunity that rates are gonna dip at some point in the next decade, right? So if I can do a 10-1 arm, meaning it's fixed for 10 years, then it becomes adjustable, or a 30-year fix, and my 10-1 arm is a point cheaper, that on $400,000 purchase is $300 a month in their payment. That's a lot of savings. So I'm doing that, and then I'm using the seller credits to buy the rate into the 4s. Right now, rates, I don't even know what real rates are because I sell rates points. So I don't even know if going rate like in the 6s or something.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I show the client, hey, great news, if I can get the seller to give me 2% to buy your rate down, you're saving literally 2% in your interest rate every single month, and I show them all the math, but I never even talk about par. I don't even know what it is anymore. I don't sell par, I sell points, always. And I sell the mindset of we're gonna get somebody else to pay for it. How does that sound? And then the clients are totally on board. But if we go into that, their purchase price is like 100 grand more. And you know, they want those houses all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just don't even have those conversations of rates and 6s on a 30-year fix, like what century are you in? Not right now, it's not what's happening right now. Right now it is creative financing. Right now it is getting the seller to buy your rate down because they're willing, right? So, and if they're underwritten first, I just keep pushing them, hey, let's get under it, let's get under it. Why do we want our escrows to be really short right now? Before we had to do it, right now, why do we want it?
So they can lock them in. I don't know.
So they can't cancel.
Mm.
It's going so fast. It's a whirlwind. It's going so fast. It's a whirlwind. They can't let Aunt Susie and Uncle Fred talk them into shenanigans. They can't let the next come out and have it, shorter escrows where you're underwritten first, like, let's just close in 2 weeks. Let's just close in 2 weeks. It's such a whirlwind. You're done before even anyone knows what happened. But right now you need that because everyone's so scared and emotional and they're freaking out. And they talk themselves into issues that really aren't there, but
Yeah.
they're so panicked. So I recommend setting them up with the mindset of, hey, let's go find the right house that we can get them to buy our rate down. Number one, because it gives them way bigger purchase prices. Number two, let's get you underwritten first, so your file's ready to go to closing. All you need is an appraisal and title. Then it's a super fast close quick contingency period, like 7-day contingencies. It'll make sure they don't fall out, right? And that's what I think is our best setup to have them close without issue. Because otherwise, the longer it is, the more issues I'm seeing people going on vacation in the middle of the escrow. They just like go to Mexico, and I'm like, you're closing it today. We're Mexico. But that's why faster is better.
Got it. Cool. Any other questions for Alicia?
So on that, remember, marry the house, pay the rate.
Yeah.
And we need to get better right now. I use daily rate lock advisory. I know I bring it up like a broken record, and that's because when everybody's saying something negative, it will tell us, great news, the rates are predicted to get better in 20 days, 30 days, 45 days, 60 days, whatever the time frame. That's what I'm constantly talking about. Oh, don't worry, we're gonna have a dip here real quick. Oh, don't worry, because the whole point is just calming their nerves, when they get breakdown. Oh, don't worry, rates are gonna come back down in the next couple of weeks. I'm keeping an eye on it for you. That's my job, right? But it gets them to just relax a little bit.
Awesome. Round of applause, Miss Alicia. Always bringing the fire. And let me share my screen. We have a couple of events coming up really quick. Tonight is the Made for More mixer at Crawdads. So it'll be fun. Dress casually. That's why I'm dressed like this, because it's going to be a billion degrees. Billion degrees and a good time. Also coming up on the 22nd is Become a Real Estate Marketing Monster. Brent's putting this on over at PCAR. That is on, when's the date? September 22nd, 2 days after the best day of the year. And then also coming up, so just so you know what we're talking about next week here at this meeting, we're going to be having Jeff Sipes present about how to help clients with bad credit. So he is the credit ninja, the bad credit ninja. So he will be speaking next week. And then that brings us to our current presenter, Mr. Doug Dustman. He's from Dustman Engineering, and he's going to be speaking on ADUs. Welcome to the front of the room, Mr. Doug Dustman.
Well, good morning, and thank you for allowing me to come here. I want to thank Johnny for helping me with the my presentation, loading and everything. And I want to thank Steve Evans. He invited me to come, and I've known Steve for about 5 years. We live in the same community, and I see him around quite a bit at different open houses.
Both folks on.
Senior active living. But I want to thank Steve for inviting me. I talked to him a little about this presentation, and he thought it might be beneficial for everybody. So today I'm here, my presentation is on accessory dwelling units, better known as ADUs. ADUs are popping up everywhere in California. And I want to share with you how versatile and truly, how versatile they are and how their affordability that they are. ADUs are a financial savvy investment. In the last couple of years, the state of California has enacted a lot of laws that have really made it easier to build and own an ADU. And the 4 points right there, those are the points I'm going to be focusing on today during my presentation. What is an ADU? Well, there are 3 types. One is attached. It's attached to the main building. There's freestanding or detached. And in this one, it's above and below. In California, there's not really any below because we don't have basements, but it could be like above the garage, maybe a second story on your house. And one of the keys about it is that it has to, the ADU has to have its own kitchen facilities, cooking facilities, and its own bathroom. That's what makes it an ADU. There is an item that's called the junior ADU. What you can do with that is, see, you have a big rec room and you're not really using it. You could convert that to a bedroom because it's within the existing floor plan of the main house. It's not the garage. If you wanted to convert a garage, that would be an ADU because it's not the living space within the house.
Does the junior ADU have to have a kitchen and bath?
No, it just has to have access to the house, and it does not have to have a separate entrance, where the ADU has to have a separate egress and ingress. That's what makes it one of the differences.
Does the access to the bedroom or bathroom and kitchen have to be within, or can it be outside?
It can be either, as long as they have access to it. Most likely would be probably within, because it, like I said, might be like a rec room or a basement or something as part of the existing house. ADUs add value and versatility to the home. You expand your square footage when you add an ADU. You can accommodate loved ones, whether it's seniors, grandparents, kids coming back from college, or some friends that need a place to stay. It's a good way for a financial to create income. You can rent out the ADU. And sometimes, depending, maybe not in California or in certain areas, but your rental rates for the ADU could either cover the mortgage of your main house, or it would definitely cover the mortgage of the ADU based on the rents that I know of so far. This, to me, this slide is the most important because this is the life cycle of an ADU. So today, I'm going to focus on a young couple, Mary and Bob. They're in their late 20s. As we all know, around here, home prices have risen, and looking to purchase a home, it's not the most affordable thing. Well, they decided that they would like to purchase a home with a lot large enough to put an ADU on, but not with an ADU. Because with the ADU, as I mentioned earlier, the value would be higher. So they had their agent, Steve. He's out looking, he finds them a house. And Steve gives me a call and says, Doug, will you come out here and verify that they can build an ADU on this? So I go out there based on the state parameters. I say, yes, you can put an ADU on there. So Mary and Bob, they buy the house and then they build an ADU. And then we get to like the first slide where they're renting out the ADU, to friends, family, or just to somebody else. They're getting income, which helps with their home. We go 10 years down the road. Well, they have a family and now the house is kind of full. They decided they don't want to rent her anymore, but they still have the ADU. Well, first they're like, okay, there's all the kids' toys around here. Maybe we'll make the ADU a kid's playroom. They can do that. Or they're thinking, wait a minute, we'll keep the kids in the house and we'll keep the ADU as a meditation room, sanctuary, or a home office for us. So it can be converted that you can utilize it that way. Then 20 years down the road, well, kids are through college and they come back and rents are very high. So, and they haven't really gotten started, so they can either rent it out to one of their kids or kids could stay there. And then even further down, say they're getting older. It's like, or they have their parents, or they don't want to go to a home, they don't want their own house, they just want them close by. Well, they can be in the ADU and they rent it out to them or just let them utilize it. And then Mary and Bob, they're in their 80s, say, I'll throw in a number. They decide, well, we have this big house that we don't want, and one of our kids would like to buy the house, so we're going to live in the ADU, and our kids can have the big house. So to me, this is the life cycle of an ADU.
All right.
ADUs are more economical to build than ever. When you put an ADU on your property, you don't have to pay for the land because you already own it as part of the main house. And you don't have to do any infrastructure improvements, roads, sewer, water, and it's all there. There are no or limited impact fees. In new developments or when you're building a new house, you pay for Highway 65, you pay for the parks, you pay for for a sewer connection, it's $7,000. Most of those impact fees go away. With schools, if you build above a certain, I think it's 500 square feet, you do pay school fees. But if you build less than 750 square feet, all those impact fees are waived. If you go 750 or more, those impact fees are based on the size of your ADU versus the size of your house. It's a percentage. So you're saving money. You also can convert existing structures. Say you have a barn, a garage, or a shed. You will have to go through the building permit process because they have safety and health, but you can convert places. There's also now a lot of prefabricated ADUs. There's a lot of companies, they'll build them, they can bring them to the site. Sometimes they will put them together, or you can have a contractor that puts them together. Contractor I know, he goes, it's like a puzzle. You have all the pieces, everything comes in on a truck, you put it together, and you have an ADU. Placer County and some other cities, they have pre-approved plans that the county has already approved. And they're in the process right now of getting it to the point where they have the foundations and everything, and you can purchase it from the engineering firm that has designed it. And they were thinking maybe $1,500 to $2,000 for the plans, which saves you considerable money. So it's another good economic way. And then there's new state laws for funding ADUs through grants. One of the things that I probably wouldn't recommend with that right now is that most of these companies, you have to refinance your house. So you can get up to $40,000 in grants, but it's for the engineering, it's for the permits, it's not for construction materials or construction labor. And with the interest rates now versus if you have like a 2.5%, it may not be as flexible. There are some companies that have a secondary loan, but you borrow $200,000 for your ADU. It's like a 7 or 9%. But once you have the certificate to occupy, you can pay it off. You can't pay it off to then, but that's one way for some people to pay some of the initial costs. There's less regulatory constraints. ADUs are allowed in any residential or multi-use area. Cities and counties only have 60 days to either approve or disapprove plans. Previously, they could go 120, but they need to give you their changes if there's any required. And then you make those changes, you get it back to them. They have to fast track it. That's a nice thing. You see. And new policies limit development impact fees, as I mentioned earlier. And this last one, I will touch on that in the next slide.
Good question.
Yes.
Can you put more than one ADU on a property if there's enough space?
No, you can, I will actually answer that right here. Point number 2. Good. Okay. And this is kind of like everybody's favorite here, the financial benefits. It can put money in the hands of homeowners. It eliminates homeowner occupancy requirements. Previously, the homeowner had to live in the main house to rent out the ADU. Now, if you are a landlord, you could rent out the main house, build an ADU, and rent out that. So you could have extra income, double income, where previously you couldn't. Homeowners, they can add one ADU and then 180 JADU on the property. You cannot add 2. But there is something, I will touch on that in just a second.
Can cities or municipalities override that? Is that a state
No.
law? Is that state?
Homeowners associations, cities, counties cannot override it. It is, but the state has set parameters. So if you're not within those parameters, you have to have a certain setback from like the side and the back. You can't be on easements. This is a height limitation. The state has said, okay, you can put these things in, but there is a city, states, and HOAs cannot say no. But they can say, well, we want it to look like this, to look like all the other houses, they don't want, like, I'll usually use an example. I look out there, I see like some, or you see like those, what are they called? The containers on the ships. A lot of places won't allow that because it's, they're making them into homes, but that's kind of like in the spirit that they can say, no, we don't want that, but you can still put one. And I mentioned before, conversion of accessory structures. And there's a part of the law that says if you have an unpermitted structure, you can get it into compliance. You have to go through the permit application process. And I worked with a couple that had one on their property that he had built. The county has strict, requirements. Was it engineered? Do you have plans? Do you have, was it a licensed contractor that built it? They have a lot of questions that they'll ask with it. You asked about more than one ADU on a property. The state came out with SB 9. What it allows is you can split the lot in 2. Not the parcel, but it's still one parcel. And there's limitation, there's like setback requirements and everything. But as long as you are not, if you have a tenant in the main house, that tenant has to stay, but you can add an ADU to the one side. If you split it, then you can add 2 more ADUs. Now, I've been reading up on that one, and that's a little tricky how they wrote it, but it's.
I've dealt with that in the city of Lincoln, and they are not approving that. You have to be an occupant to be able to do that.
Oh, you do have to be an occupant for 3 years.
Right.
From the time you apply for the permit, the owner does have to occupy the that property for 3 years. Then it could be 4 rentals after that, but that's one of the. Okay. What size do ADUs come in? Right now, the ADU maximum size is 1,200 square feet that the cities and counties have to allow if they have the space. If you don't have the space for it, you can't go that high. The maximum JADU size is 500 square feet. As you saw earlier, if you attach the ADU to an existing house, you can go 50% of the house. If you have a 5,000 square foot house, you can put a 2,500 square foot ADU attached to it. So that's kind of, so if you have 10,000, as long as it has to be attached, because I got that
And bid on the lot.
Yeah. I clarified that with the county, the lady at the county who is the ADU expert, so. And sometimes like local agencies had where they said, oh no, your ADU can only be 500 square feet. Well, the law says that the minimum is 850 square feet, and if it's a 1 bedroom, it can be, you cannot go any less than 1,000 square feet. But if someone wants to put a 500 square foot ADU on their property, that's fine too. Maybe they have 10 acres, but they only want a small one. They don't have to go to this. And finding ADU, just like you, whether you're looking for to house a single person or the whole family, we have you covered. And how much does it cost to build an ADU? This kind of take it for, because with how things have changed, with when contractors are really busy, prices go up. If they slow down building, prices go down. Placer County had numbers a lot smaller than this. They were saying $80 a square foot. And I don't see, I think I average about $150 to $250 a square foot, depending on material you want to use and everything else. So it's 500, 750, and attached is roughly that. This includes hard and soft costs, which is the engineering or the design and in the building. It does not include permits because permits vary by jurisdiction and jurisdiction. For Dustman Engineering, this is like a short of a series service I provide. Planning your ADU, help first of all determine if you can put one on there on your property. One couple, they wanted to build an ADU. I went out there. Unfortunately, well, they were in a floodplain, but I'm like, okay, we can just build up. But their property in Loomis was commercial tourism. Yeah. So they could not put an ADU on that property. They had a house on there, but they couldn't put an ADU. I'm like, I couldn't figure out why it was commercial tourism. I'll help with the permit application, and then during construction management, building the ADU, I can be the coordinator because a lot of times it can be very frustrating with permits with different things. Why should the homeowner do that when I do? You pay me to do that. I'm doing it for a job. I'm not tied to the house. It's not personal. It's a business to get you what you want. Okay, and we go back to this one here. So just a little note, like my ideal client doesn't have the time or the patience, to go through the process of planning, permitting, and building an ADU. And my goal is to be a resource for you with ADUs. Thank you.
Thank you so
Any
much.
questions?
If they want to get a hold of you, Doug, what's the best way?
I have cards, I can, I do have a website, Dustman Engineering.
Jerry, can you put that in the chat box?
Sure.
Dustman, DUST.
Yes, command. Yes.
I noticed that you're talking about there being like financial benefit or resources for people like who would donors for affordable housing. Do you know where I could access that information?
That would be,
I think that could be that there were like grants.
well, there's like the state has approved, say a 40,000 grant for ADUs. It would include the design, maybe doing soil testing to see the foundation. It would pay for the permitting, like for part of what I would do for project management, kind of getting everything set up. But the actual construction, materials, and labor, it does not pay for. But it's tied to a loan. And that's where it's tied to a loan with your have. So you almost have to, you refinance the house and then you submit the bills to special lenders. No, actually, it's a home equity. I think it's more of a home equity. Because then when you have all these bills, you submit them then to the lender. And they then will pay, either they pay it or they give the money you to pay for it. And that's primary. I did learn that they do have some secondary, but those are, if you get a loan of up to, at 200,000 and 7 to 9%, you can't pay that off until you get your certificate to occupy. I think for most people, I would not recommend those grants, because when the money runs out, it runs out. So that means, but in order to get it, from what I understand, you have to have the certificate to occupy. So then if you're almost there and all of a sudden they run out of money, well, you kind of.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
And if you had to refi your
Right.
3% rate into a 5% rate, in order to get it.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much, Doug.
Thank you.
Round of applause, Doug.
What's your phone number?
Doug, do you have
What kind of time frame?
Doug, do you have a phone number you can share?
Okay, it's 925
925
997
997.
2226.
Thank you, J-Ro. Thank you, Doug.
What was the time frame from start to finish on a typical project?
I kind of figured the planning that I did was probably like a month. You kind of, because you want to get some drawings, depending on the architects and everything, they do schematics and then they can do the drawings. And do all this stuff. The city has up to 2 months. So that's, you have 3 months now. And then when you get the permit, you want to deal with the contractors, depending how busy they are, the schedules. I say maybe you're lucky 6 months, otherwise 9 months. 9 to 12, and it all depends on your contractor, the materials you want to utilize, if you want special appliances, things like that, you know. But I would direct, as part of what I would do, would be, okay, you have this, let's think about getting your appliances, get those ordered now, you know the space, you know the size, let's get them.
It's about like building a house.
Pardon?
About like building a house.
Yeah, it is. It's just a smaller scale, you know, a lot less fees and a lot quicker for the city and county.
Awesome. Last question.
So, what do you charge like a consultant if you have a property that a client wants to see information on, maybe get an escrow or something like that? What is the cost?
Well, what I first do is I do a 30-minute free site visit to see if they can even do it. Because if they can't do it, there's easements or different things, you can't put anything new on here, so. But then after that, you saw like the list of things I do, it all depends what they want to do. And where the project is. So it's, but I would talk with them and then say, okay, this is what I would plan on doing. This would be my price. I would probably do a lump sum for everything that we lay out. But then if they want extra, then it's a charge per order.
So 30-minute free site fee, site.
Site evaluation.
Okay. got it.
How many of these have you done?
I've started making one 2 years ago. I started getting reviews. I have one that I'm working on now. I had one that fell apart because of the commercial tourism. So I only had a couple, but I have over 33 years in civil engineering. I was a project manager for a public water company. I did a lot of different projects. I know how to get permits. I know how to work with the city. I know how to work with a lot of contractors. And I know the ins and outs of what I need to do.
Thank you.
Can I add this in real quick? He and I ran into each other, okay, actually at a pool party, right?
Right.
And we found out that he was, in the ADUs, and I had an investor, that's a second generation investor family, he had these tons of units. And we're out looking at investment projects, says right now, see, the hottest thing right now for me that I'm interested in is ADUs. As an investor, if I have property in a parcel that I can add an ADU, it's more cost effective for me to build something brand new and rent it out prevailing rental values than for anything else right now. So he's doing as many as he can right now. So it's about trends and what's fashionable now. So thank you.
Good stuff. Good information. Yeah.
Are you seeing these feedback? Bring up. Where does someone have to go to get a pre-job ADU?
There are companies in California. There are companies throughout the United States, Colorado. Another real estate people that I know, they put in an ADU, a prefabricated one. And I went over and saw that, and it's very nice. It's more generic. But it was for the daughter who was like a 400 square foot one. There are a lot of more companies now. There are some local ones too. There's one in Rockland. They're starting to do these. It'd be easier to build them at a site, bring them in, and then assemble them and go from there.
Awesome. Well, guys, if you have any more questions, go ahead, reach out to him on his website or on his phone number. We got one more speaker, but before we get to him, there's a couple people in the room I wanted to just recognize because they always show up. Miss Heather, the Heathers actually, those Heathers, they have a fantastic farming tool that just 30 seconds on the farming tool.
No, I just wanted to say, at that debt results conference, when Brent Gove said that we have been in a lead receiving time, now
Yeah.
it's time to lead generate. That was mind blowing, because we've all had business fall into our laps, you know? So, Heather wanted to give you a sneak peek of what we can do.
Yeah, so we have, I mean, there's plenty of farming tools out there depending on your needs. And what you need it. We have two that we love. One is exclusive to Chicago Title, one is out there with other companies, but the best part is using them together, depending again on what your needs are. Whether you want to make sure you're staying in front of those like covered, or you want to make sure that you're focusing on those who may be in a position.
And how do we get in contact with the Dose Heathers?
So Heather D, I'm Heather Dobro, 223-5578. Heather B.
Really?
And we've been friends for years.
And I'm 916-705-2259. We're happy to do one-on-ones. We're also happy, you know, you want to do one for your team. Again, it's coming down to discovering what your needs are and figuring out how to solve.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And then the last person, go ahead, Jen, stand up so we can see you. You're not hidden by Lexi. Jen Finley with North American. Real quick, why should we use you? Why should we use North American? Yes. No, that's the truth. Go ahead.
Saturdays and also the VA fire, we do training for free. For the home inspection. And then also if you already have a termite company, but you just have an opinion, we will go out there and install it.
There you go. All the reasons right there. And what's your phone number?
906-833-3531.
All right, there you go. All right, now we're moving on to our last and final speaker. He's the closer. He's a friend of Clark down there. His name's Justin Monaco. He's with EXP, has 20 years in real estate law, an undergraduate degree in business. He's obviously got a law degree because he's been there for 20 years, 6 years in the Marine Corps, and the last two, hoorah, and the last two, he taught Marines leadership. So please welcome to the front of the room, Mr. Justin Monaco.
Right.
Yeah, you're good.
How many Chico State grads do I have in here? Any? No?
We just go, we don't graduate.
Exactly. These are there. Any prior military folks in the room? What branch? Yeah. Oh, Mr. Washington, how you doing?
Army Reserves.
Or four, sorry. I met a lot of people in Tahoe. So I've had a few conversations with Brent over the last couple of months, and one theme that kept coming up was he was concerned about this shift in the market and the discipline that's going to require his agents disciplined with their personal finances, disciplined to do the things that they don't and haven't had to do in a long time just because the market has been so good. So he asked me to come in here and speak today about discipline and how to implement various routines in your life to help that. All right. So you have to realize my primary focus has been coaching a long time ago was young Marines, their leadership skills. So for the last couple of years, I've been not just EXP, but multiple brokers, even realtors throughout the Sacramento region. I've been teaching them leadership skills, how to get the most out of their teams, their offices, and whatnot. But now Clark has, I'm officially with EXP now. And so, yeah, no, I really like it. I really like the family orientation. I went to that event in Tahoe and I felt like I was with my family. It was really, and I've been in business, I've been in the cutthroat business. I mean, coming from the legal field, which I still do, but to here, it's been just. I've been, Clark, you sure that nobody gonna steal this guy from me? Cause, you know, like agent recruitment, I'm like, somebody's gonna grab him. He's like, no, and it's just what I'm used to. So back to the point at hand here, Brent wanted me to address, you know, discipline, how to implement some procedures and train your mind and your body too, if because they go hand in hand. You know, how many people here exercise? Okay, all right, we'll keep that up. I would say increase that again.
What you trying to say?
Set goals for yourself, because a healthy body is with a healthy mind. All right, I'm a huge believer in that. If you sleep right, eat right, and you exercise, you can handle just about anything coming your way. And this market, I think we all better prepare ourselves for the worst. Hopefully it doesn't come to that, but that's kind of what I'm here for. And if you guys want coaching, individually coaching and stuff like that, I'll give you my number, my contact information later. I do that. But let's focus on today and the market and discipline, stuff like that. So, you know, in the Marines, a lot of times I used to have youngsters come to me and go, "Hey, boss, hey, you know, oh, this is happening. Oh my God, you know, we didn't get this, or we're out of ammo, or you know," and some, you know, I always say, "Good." They look at me like, "What?" And I say, "Well, good. We're gonna find a way to get better. We're gonna find a way to improvise. We're gonna find other ways to get our ammunition, different ways." Yeah, and so, you know, finally, this guy came to me. He's like, "Problem, boss, we got this problem." He's like, "But I already know what you're gonna say." I go, "What's that?" So you're gonna say, "Good." And I go, "Yeah, well, good." All right, so anyway, I won't get into the problem, but it's just a different mindset. So you look at this market now. Yes, things are going to get rough, but tell it to yourself. All right, good. I'm going to find a way to improve the way I do my lead generation. I'm going to have to work harder. You know, I'm going to have to do things that I don't like to do. And once you get in that mindset to where adversity, don't look at adversity as something that's, oh my God. Look at adversity as a challenge and something that you can just, you know, you're going to come out on the other side of it a stronger, better realtor, agent, broker, whatever it may be. So, you know, that would be one of my big things to say to you. I'm not big into the self-help, you know, read the books. Yes, I like Tony Robbins, but I'm certainly not a Tony Robbins type. And I say that because they always say, you know, well, you know, if you believe it, you can achieve it. And all these kind of one-liners. Life is not like that. They're leaving out the most important part. Action. You got to do something, right? Okay, so, you know, you guys, when you encounter these months, hopefully months, not years, but it could be years. You know, when you encounter these obstacles that you come across, you're going to have to improvise, adapt, and overcome these different obstacles. And they're going to be coming your way. They're gonna. But don't look at it like, oh no. Say to yourself, all right, good. You know, I'm gonna figure out a new way to get more leads. I'm gonna utilize Katie Core and all the other lead generations that the Heathers over here talked about. You know, you guys should be the most popular people in the room. You know, I mean, honestly, with you know, no embarrassment, how many people in this room are nervous right now about the market? That's it? Everybody else is confident. No, that's good. I guess Brent will feel better when he knows that. That's a big reason why I'm here. So, all right, so I don't want you to be, yeah, I mean, fear can be a great motivator. So, I mean, you use that as a tool. Don't let it fester. Take action. You know, every time something comes into your mind that makes you nervous or something's coming your way, you don't know how to handle it. Detach from the situation, take a deep breath, reevaluate, reload, and re-engage. Okay, and do that, try that principle with anything you run across, whether it's a crazy client, like I got plenty of those, trust me. You know, crazy client, oh, you know, this, and this, we lost, it's all your fault, this kind of stuff. You know what, client X, let me call you back before I lose my cool. I didn't say that, but you hang up and you get, you know, just detach from the situation, reevaluate it, recalibrate, reload, and then re-engage, get back, and then call them back. And you'll have a whole different perspective on things. And try that. I'm using a lot of military terms here, so excuse me if I do that, but some people like that, some people can't stand it. So that, the R's, you use those. You can apply that to almost any situation in life, whether it's an argument with your spouse, or whatever it is. Just detach, you know, reevaluate, reload, re-engage. That works very well in all kinds of situations. You know, and as far as maintaining self-discipline and implementing discipline for yourself, you know, everybody is different, so I can't sit here and just preach to the crowd. But I can tell you this is, in a nutshell, with the market shifting the way it is, it's going to require self-discipline to take care of yourself first. We already talked about that. And then secondly, you're going to have to have the self-discipline to, you know, stop trying to find the one program, the one whatever life hack there is you think is going to fix it. Stop doing that. Find your alarm clock and set it 2 hours earlier. Get up, get in the office, and move, you know, put together a plan. This is what I'm going to do today, and I am not going to stop until I get, you know, 5 leads today. And don't leave. I know we all have kids and, you know, school and soccer and wives and dinner and homework and dogs and all this other stuff. I know we have that, but you can still do it. That's why I'm a big believer of waking up early in the morning. I get up early, I work out, I go to the office first. I'm really lucky because I live in Gold River, and I'm like, my house is here, my gym is here, my office is right here, my daughter's school is here, and my youngest daughter's preschool is right here. So it's like, I drive an average of about 7 miles a week. So, but anyway, so I set my alarm, I get up at 4 o'clock every morning, and I go to the gym. And then I go to the office in my gym clothes, and I outline my day. I can get more done between 4 and 6 a.m., you know, or 5 and 7. 5 and 7 a.m. I get more done in that period of time because the texts aren't coming in, the phones aren't ringing, the emails aren't coming in, clients aren't showing up. So I get more done in that time frame than I do pretty much the rest of the day. So do I like getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning? Sometimes no. But it just becomes a routine, it becomes natural. And if you want to survive this upcoming market, I suggest you all implement something simple.
Awesome.
Any questions?
To say Marines don't plan.
Hmm.
They improvise.
Improvise, adapt, and overcome. Yeah, you use that to do everything. I use that all the time.
So agents, what do we gotta do? Start activity. We need to get it moving. Yeah, if you're afraid of missing your payment, make some calls, do some open houses. Just to touch on what you said, I went to build. And I tell you what, man, I'm invigorated. And you know what? Yeah, we got, challenges coming up. But I got 3 open houses planned this week, came back. And I got 2 appointments with 2 agents. Make activity, pretend like it's not there, improvise to the situation. Make it happen.
Exactly. Yeah, any other questions? And if you guys, like I said, Clark has my number. I can leave some business cards.
Okay.
Like I said, I do coaching. One of the biggest things that I have been doing for the last few years is doing, coaching brokers and agents, stuff like that. But also the big focus is DRE compliance. We do a lot of, my firm does a lot of, you get a letter, a lovely letter from the DRE saying, okay, you're going to be audited. You get 30 days. We'll come out and make sure that you're self-compliant, that you'll pass that DRE audit. Hopefully with flying colors. If you ever run into any kind of problems with the DRE, and Lord knows they're out there now, they're out there with vengeance. So dot your I's, cross your T's. If you ever come across any trouble with the DRE, I should put I don't know if there's a way to put my info up there.
Yeah, what's your phone number?
916 304
304
5553.
5553. And it's just in Monaco.
Yes.
All right. Everybody give Justin a big round of applause. One last thing, let's see if I can do 5 things at the same time. One last thing I wanted to touch on was we do have some classes coming up. So if you are in the intermediate or advanced range, there are classes available for agents that are in those categories that are free. I think, who is it? It's Marguerite and Gail are putting on the advanced course. There is Sean Work is putting on the intermediate course. And then I'll be hosting the more beginner agent course. So go ahead. J-Rel's going to put her information in the chat box, her phone number. So just go ahead and text J-Rel your email address and which class you would like to be in. But what we're going to be going over in the next 30 days is how to build a database, how to create a newsletter for free, how to host mega open houses the Brent Gove way, and how to follow up with leads. Okay. And so we'll be meeting once a week for the next 30 days online. So if you're interested, go ahead and get your information over to J-Rel. J-Rel and her phone number for those of you who are in the room is 916-755-6069. All right, any questions?
Is it Renee J-Rel?
J-Rel. J-Rel, say hi. You're hidden now. They have to know you're real. They think you're fake.
Hi, everyone.
There we go.
Her last name is Reyes.
Reyes. Her last name is Reyes. All right. Well, that's all we have for today, guys. Sorry, went over a little bit, but hopefully we got some value out of the ADUs and some motivation from the Master Marine over here. We'll see you next Thursday.